Hey everyone, Phobos here, coming out with another WoW video. This time it's going to be for Uu'nat Heroic and the Crucible of Storms. Didn't really bother making a video for the first boss because it was just kind of like a scuffed bug kill, and it's a pretty simple boss, but this one is a bit harder. Some people might get stuck on it, so making a video here. Just going to run through it like normal, pause when necessary. Nothing too special on the opener. You're just going to see standard opener. I guess I'll explain a little bit about the relics here. So this is for like healer, this is for tank, I think, and then this one's for DPS. So you're only going to be worrying about crown. How crown works is you use it. It's an extra action button. You pick it up, right, and then you can have it for as long as you want. When you use it, it goes off for, I believe, 10 to 12 seconds, deals pretty high raid damage, and kills anything in the raid or the enemies aside from Uu'nat himself below 25%. So you use that basically to permanently get rid of the melee adds in the fight, which cannot die when they hit 0% normally. They basically hit 0% and begin regenerating. So if you have the job to use the crown, basically people are just going to give you a specific timeline to use it in. They're gonna you're gonna pick it up. They're gonna tell you use crown now. You use it, and it's simple. After that, it kind of goes away. You get a debuff. Can't using it for 2 minutes. The crown can't be picked up for 1 minute, I believe. And so basically somebody else will pick it up next. But that's just a quick explanation on the crown. Very simple to use. Don't be intimidated by using it at all. So nothing crazy on the opener. You'll just notice that I start to head like towards the side of the room here. That's basically because you're going to see a circle. See that Oblivion Tear, that pink circle spawn underneath me? That's going to create a void zone. Whenever you step in that, it heals the boss for 1% of his health. So you basically want to drop these closer to the edge, essentially, so that people don't step in them, and you kind of tank the boss. You pull them around. I'm just kind of getting aggravated there because I wanted to use the barb shot after I put Beastie Wrath on cooldown to get the time reset on it, the 12 seconds or whatever, but just the way it kind of worked out, I needed to use it to refresh the frenzy stat because that's a higher priority and much more important. So the beam positioning is important here because if you are like way out in East Bumfuck and you're gonna like say you're over here and you're gonna get hit by 2 beams, then you have to like run maybe in a direction where you can't hit the boss, like you're not in range to get out of being hit by both beams or something. So it's just important to like plan ahead with where you are. I actually kind of really overdo it here, and I just run through towards this beam. I could have just stood where I was and took that beam, but it's fine, doesn't matter. So, as you can see, I'm out of range for a little bit there because I thought they were running with me, and then it turns out they had stopped. So that's what happened there, but no big deal. Just lost a little bit of time. Basically just dodge these void crashes until they get smaller. You can absorb like a medium one, but there's really no need.
Intermission.
So see, transitions at 70%, and that's basically when you finish these ads. See what's going to happen here is that ad got killed way too early. It's going to start to regenerate. We're working on this one.
And let that heal. Or,
and the raid leader calls to let it heal. But it's kind of like too late at this point if you're going to let it heal. So then he called to use it. Or somebody else called to use it to try and kill it immediately, but it went above 25%. So we kind of have to switch back to it and hope we kill it. So as you can see, my pet's on it, trying to get it down. We get under 25% and it's under control. Now this phase, they're saying touch a puddle because when you pop the void stone, everybody in the raid can run into a puddle and soak it, and it doesn't give the boss the 1% thing. So that's how that works. As you can see, we're taking quite heavy damage from the crown right now, and you have to really be cognizant when you're using the crown or anybody else is using it, because if you do drop below 25% health, you're just dead. So
that was scary.
Yeah.
As fuck.
So as you can see, they're a little shook from that. But see that the circle that's moving in, if you're in that, when it detonates, you just get mind controlled, I believe. So pretty generous time to get out of that. And as you notice, we're holding our cooldowns here, and that's because we're trying to wait for the boss to hit, or wait for the ads to spawn here. So the ads spawn, you kick them. Unfortunately, they move kind of slow, so it's ideal if you have a grip. We had 2 grips. We get them together. Basically, we pop our cooldowns and then kind of get into it. You could pot here. Uh, I think it's more worth to pot with lust because a lot of these things die very quickly. So especially if your guild has good AoE DPS, it's just not really worth it. It hasn't been the best DPS pull. We just kind of had like mediocre pull damage, I would say. I don't know, we just seemed like we didn't really crit at all, and like sometimes I'll be at like 26k coming out of this. But I did want to use kind of like the kill attempt because it has the whole fight.
So do you want to clear now? Like.
So this is going to be, I think, a mistake. As you, I'm not sure like what I'm doing here. If I'm just kind of like not paying attention and not using Bestial Wrath, or if I'm trying to time it for the ads. But as you can see, we just missed one reset with the barb shot, and I'm probably going to use it on the ads, but it's like probably not worth there. Especially like I pop it now, I'm not doing anything with it really. It's just like super bad play right here. Then I kind of like bring my pet. I would say like for DPS purposes it's on the wrong it's in the wrong place, but for practical purposes it's in the right place because we want to kill the Mindbenders, not the Undying Guardians. So as you can see, my place in the meter drops quite a bit there because I just fucked up the cooldown pretty heavily. So this you basically just want to keep, you know, Beast Cleave up and Barb Shot when you can.
Yeah, it should be phasing here shortly. So be ready to do some damage to the Guardian.
Seems like I'm having a bit of that almost like the lag here. I don't know if you guys ever get that, where like you'll hit your abilities, they don't quite go off. It's almost like you have to keep resetting your game to clear that, because I'm not really hitting things very crisply.
Do you want to clear it now before we do the thing?
Oh, we have to do it now, so do it after.
Okay, when we're in solo.
Just get by a puddle.
So they killed the
Alright, do it.
When we start in solo.
Clearing now.
You're good. Alright.
I want to say people cleared early, but
I didn't call it.
So here, basically, the raid leader calls to use it. And then he's like, okay, do it now. People start heading towards the puddles. And then this guy just decides he's going to wait for some reason. And it's like, we didn't really even need to wait there. He said people weren't at full health. They don't need to be really at full health because there's no damage going out. But yeah, so people just healed the boss a bit. For no reason.
yep.
Alright, you can heal. Should probably wait till I call it that I used it.
I just saw them all go away, and I was like,
So you just basically stack your cooldowns there and burn with lust.
I'm drinking.
This red circle you get around you, basically what it is it drains life from other people, and I think you can't be like directly healed while you have it on, I think, so you just need to be healed by standing next to other people and siphoning a bit of their life, and they can be healed is the idea. And then the boss also just casts a thing where everybody basically becomes like a free-for-all. Like you can still hit Uu'nat, you're not mind controlled, but you can also hit your raid. So you just don't want to do like a ton of like the pad thing to do here would be hit the Beast Cleave, right? But I mean that's kind of scummy, so.
beams.
So I see the beams coming out. Go to one side here. Missed it. I don't know. I think I'm upset because the barb shot didn't go off. Seems to be playing with quite a bit of ping tonight or something. Things just don't seem very crisp. I seem pretty frustrated, but. So in this stage, you don't really kill any ads anymore. So you can kind of like, if you want to pad a little bit, you can Beast Cleave them or whatever, but it doesn't really do anything. I would almost recommend against it in the sense of like unless you're like really paying attention to the cooldown of that ability, because once people become targetable, you're gonna start damaging them. So in this, you're mainly like trying to find people next to you for the debuff or go into their debuff, and then keep an eye on the eyes. Essentially, you don't want to hit any puddles, especially in the last phase. If you're hitting puddles early on, almost doesn't matter at all because it's like a phased fight where the actual real difficult part of the fight begins later on, essentially, right? So you're gonna see what I would kind of call a little bit of a mistake here soon. It's not like, see, what you should do in this state is you should just move like forward, right? But I kind of seen this guy moving here, and I was like, okay, I know somebody's going to be here, so I started to move with them, and I was hoping maybe somebody else would come, because there's still a path to get back, as you can see, like relatively easily, and we can be in range of the boss because we're both ranged and stuff, but I think it would have just been easier if we both hit the boss, or if we both go through the boss and melee there. So, in some sense, we're kind of baiting out pools over here now, which is nice, and I'm still able to pretty much sustain myself, so. We're in a good position also for the eyes, so just take this eye. I just decide to, as you can see, we do end up baiting a pool there, and I just decide to turtle the eyes, and that's because I have the circle on me, and I don't want to really be taking extra damage there. It could cause me to die. The boss is very low though, so I probably should have just kept DPSing. And we just walking into kind of like a safe spot and
Nice. We made that so much harder on ourselves.
finishing off the boss. And there you go. It's a pretty easy fight.
Oh.
When you have an organized group, I'd say the hardest part is just the last burn phase and making sure people don't hit pools during the last phase, because like I said, in the other phase it doesn't matter if they hit pools, but in the last phase it's kind of a big deal, so you really don't want people to give you extra percent on the boss there. Other than that, it's pretty easy. I think this was like a 91 percentile kill. It wasn't very good. Like I said, there's like a kind of suboptimal cooldown usage. Probably could have got another Bestial Wrath out at least. The primals were used well, but the pull, we just didn't have a good pull, so we didn't have good numbers going into the AoE phase, and the AoE phase was, the first one kind of went fine, and then the other one, it seemed like we didn't have super good grips and stuff. A lot of your damage is going to be dependent on how well the adds are grouped up. If the 3 adds are grouped up really well, then you're going to be able to do a high amount of damage. And I think on the second set of adds, we had like 2 of them off on one place and 1 of them on the side. And that means when they spawn into the smaller adds, you're not going to have all the smaller adds grouped up as well. So I flirted with using, what is it called? Rapid reload on this, but I don't think it's worth, especially if you have relatively high DPS group, because you're just not going to get enough adds. And I think the problem is 3 adds is not enough to really justify using it. You're not going to get enough CDR back on Primal, and pumping multi-shots to do that is not going to be doing a lot of damage because you're not hitting a lot of targets, right? Because it doesn't scale with targets hit. It'll just hit all targets for the flat amount, so the more targets the better. And obviously when they go into the smaller adds, that's nice, but the smaller adds die so quickly that you're just not going to get a lot of volleys off. So I think it's just worth it to use a normal Azurite trait. And on top of that, so not only is my rapid reload piece, it's like 10 eye levels below the other piece, right? So I just think ultimately it's better to use the normal chest I use. Yep, so that's pretty much the fight. Any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll answer them. Sorry for the less than stellar play this time, but it was pretty sick. I just kind of wanted to get it down. So, also seemed to be dealing with some lag, so I was kind of annoyed. But I'll talk to you guys later. Oops.